JT Fox is a successful American serial entrepreneur with companies, brands, and business interests spanning the globe. He is one of the top platform speakers in the world. Even though he is generally applauded for his work as a wealth coach, his philanthropic endeavors with youth entrepreneurs and kids with cancer has also given him quite a reputation. He visited Johannesburg recently, and our team caught up with him.
Here's what I can do. And nobody cares what you could do, or no one cares about what is it your product does. What they care is, what can it do for me? You haven't said yourself, my product is indispensable. The problem is we're taking advice and we're afraid from people who won't buy our products and our services.
The most important thing that I take away from the JT Fox Day is actually walking away with an amazing amount of new and innovative ideas.
I never thought of, looking overseas in terms of branding and stuff like that.
To have the courage to do whatever it takes to go where you want to go.
Have a profound knowledge in terms of what can make a person successful.
Thank you very much for joining me. You have been to South Africa a couple of times.
Many times.
What brings you back to Johannesburg this time?
Well, I'm on a part of a world tour right now. I was at 16 countries in 24 days. And so this is the second part of the tour. So come back, one, media, meetings, buying companies, and I've got a 2-day event on Thursday, Friday on marketing and branding with not only some new people, but a lot of my existing clients, and sort of going to teach them my Think American, Act South African way of marketing and branding, which has worked tremendously here. So very, very excited. It's been very trying, but it's coming to South Africa. The minute I land in Joburg, it always feels like I'm home. Whether I get off the plane, people recognize me, or I get into the HOW train, because it's actually quicker in the morning to take the HOW train than they get stuck in traffic. And it's nice to see the amount of times I get recognized for the impact of the lives I've changed in this country. So that's exciting.
So you say you have talks, you have meetings here, and you have worked with people here in South Africa.
I've done over 100 events. You name the biggest, most successful names in this country I either know or do business with. I have a business dinner with Robert Gumede on Thursday, and then I'm seeing Trevor Noah afterwards. So, my people here keep me very busy. So let's put it this way: from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, there's either a meeting, a speaking, a charity endeavor. So it's insane. It's 14, 16, 18, 20-hour days every time in South Africa. Partly because there's so much things going on here. So when I'm out of the country and I come back, they try to fit it all in. So there's no time for excuses, and there's no time to miss anything. But it's exciting, and it just goes to the change that I've created here in this country.
How do you spread yourself? How do you become one of the world's best, most well-known wealth coaches?
I'd like to say results. I mean, at the end of the day, my business model has always been powered by my clients' success. The more successful they are, the more successful I am. I can sit here and tell you, over 50 plus businesses and done over 1,000 properties, but people don't care what I've done. I think they care what I've done for them, even though I bought companies here, took them global, got a house here in South Africa. And when I came here 2 years ago, I tell the people I would come, I would stay, I would build, and together we'd build a great empire. And it's interesting, you get negativity everywhere you go, but in South Africa, there hasn't really been any, because the results don't lie. I mean, I'm in Fast Company this month. I think I'm in Esquire, GQ, Property Magazine, all with a lot of lives I've changed. I think you guys have profiled some of my successful clients here on this show. So I like to say, just like in business, let the results do the talking. If you take care of your clients will take care of your profits. And that's exactly what's happened.
You mentioned a few people, but they already have made their fortune here in South Africa, and they're still building on that. But what do you do? Do you pick out people? Do you wait for people to come to you? What do? You sit down with them, and do you teach them? Do you mentor them?
Really depends. I mean, there are people who have no businesses, then you have people who have existing businesses, and then you have successful people. I mean, for example, you guys sought me out to be here. So, part of it is branding. And I think when you're branded, you attract certain types of things. I mean, I don't need to get some media. The media comes to us. I don't need to get clients. A lot of clients come to us. And I think, people have now accepted, okay, well, this American, even though I was born in Canada and lived there 17 years, you know what? Whether you like me or not, you cannot deny the results. I'm straight to the point, no BS, tell it how it is, and I only care about getting results, and I care deeply about this country. I mean, I tell these people that this is a third world country with first-rate people, and people need to start to believe. And you take a South Africa out of South Africa, and you realize that, you know what, we are really, really good. But people need to believe here, and I think there's too much finger pointing, government, this and that. Everyone's blaming everybody else, and you got to really want it. You know, one of the famous quote is, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you know it. So.
I just want to touch on that, on South Africa, and the fact that I know you say branding and marketing is really important.
Branding, marketing, relationship coaching, hands down. Marketing is the engine of your business. Branding is the fuel. Relationships are the things that ties everything together. Coaching is what really is the glue that holds everything together. Those four pieces are by far the most important thing.
And of course, very important if you look at the South African context, what's happening right now. I mean, we just have new visa rules coming into play, and you know, we have a whole lot of regulatory systems in place, and a lot of people feel this is strangling the country, keeping people from doing business.
But not only that too, but the xenophobia throughout the world, machetes and people walking down, that's the problem. I mean, listen, there are more strikes in this country than any other country in the world. That's really bad. And very few foreign investments comes to South Africa, especially after what we've seen here. So the future, and only the future of this country, is dependent on small business. And small businesses are the backbone of what makes America what it is today, the American dream. Small business drives everything. Small businesses is who are going to hire the 26% that are unemployed right now. That's the only way out. So we need to heroes, models, and mentors. But we don't celebrate entrepreneurs here in South Africa. We like to cut them off. And the problem with me is you haven't been able to cut me off because of all the results and success and people do believe. But you know, you have great people like Robert Gumede and Patrice Motsepe and Cyril Ramaphosa. I was just reading today, Cyril divested in all his interests here, except for the McDonald's and his properties, because he would get accused, even though none of Cyril's businesses are BE. Robert Gumede, is very, very successful. Patrice is donating half his wealth. But rather than to say, wow, look what they're doing, we're saying they're black and that's why they're rich. When if you just take a look at it, only 4% of the country's dollar millionaires in this country are black, yet they account for over 90%. So anybody thinks BE is a ticket to financial freedom, they're thinking wrong. So we got to start pointing the finger at everybody else. We got to start creating our own economy. And when I came in here, they told me I wouldn't make it because I was white. And then I get interviewed all over, and callers call in and they're black and they're saying, I can't, black people don't want to do business with me, white people are lucky. So, black people say white have it good, white say black have it good. Everyone's pointing the finger at everybody else. So I actually figured out what the key to success in this country, it's actually to be Indian. See, that's the key. See, because they can be on both sides. When they need to be BE, they're BE. And when they need to be white, they'll be white. So I realized we just all moved to Durban, and that's the key to success.
Do you think that's where it is in Durban?
I mean, listen, the whole country.
What do you think? What do you think sets that apart? What do you think sets Indians apart?
We all know Durban. They want Joburg money. They don't want to work for it. We know people in Cape Town are 9 months behind. Bloom operating their whole country. Port Elizabeth, most people don't know where that is on a map. So listen, I happen to know South Africans actually better than themselves. People like.
So what do you think is the problem? Is it an attitude problem?
No, I think it's a culture problem. I think it's how people were raised. I think people are still living. Some people are still living into the apartheid and 25 years ago, and that's bad. And I think in some cases we need to move forward. We need progress. I tell people some of my best entrepreneurs now are women in this country. Yet there's still people who think that women should be barefoot and pregnant. Yet women are much better entrepreneurs than men. There's a lot of stereotypes. There's a lot of people who have been involved. There's still a lot of old school people. And there's a lot of ignorant people here, as you realize. There's still racism in this country, as there is everywhere in the world. But the greatest asset that South Africa has, it's its people. And that's hands down. I've said this all over the world. So I tell the whole world how great this country is. Yet, you see on the news the xenophobia with the machetes down the streets, telling the foreigners, get the hell out. I mean, who wants to come here and do business? I mean, America is built on foreigners. I mean, I think everyone at some point has been a foreigners here. Or you get people thrown out of parliament. And it's beyond me. Just take a look at it. I mean, power is going to increase. I just read this morning, 13.4% is going to be a power increase. And it's like going to a restaurant and someone spit in your food and put hair, and then they're expected you to give a tip. And how with all the blackouts, the rollouts, you know what I mean? why are we increasing the power? I mean, it's outrageous. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Because they don't have money.
Well, that's
but
right.
But if you had the opportunity to change
I will become president, but it
Yeah.
have to be for the
Tell us
ASC
what you
because that's
do.
the only way. Well,
Tell us what you do.
Well, I think first of all, too, you need to put people to work. I mean, that's the first thing you need to do. First of all, you need youth entrepreneurs. The youth is the future. However, we need to put our youth in there because the youth don't have much belief in the country. Because one, they're either told go into business, don't know what to do, or there's not enough room for them to educate them in the university. So that's a big fundamental problem. That's why you're having a lot of violence in townships, and because there's no hope. You know what I mean? And listen, it's not easy to be black in this country. You know, in some of the townships, and there's a lot of poverty too. You know, there is, you know, a portion that is well off, but there's a lot of poverty in this country. And I think people need to believe. And so I think we need some deals. We need to export some South African goods. We need to sell some of our stuff, and we need to. And I would give incentive. Here's what I would incentivize every businesses if they hire a certain amount of people to give them a tax break. That would incentivize me, a business. Hire South Africans, we give you a tax break. More people
We do have that, though.
Well, but it's not working,
Yeah.
obviously, with 26%. Number two, I would set up vocational schools to educate the people that don't have a job, a trade. Let's give these people a trade. We don't do that. And I think number three, I think we need to get more women, more whipping going in the entrepreneur world, in the workforce. You know, listen, if I was black, I would use BE. And so I don't think BE is the end of the world. You know, we have affirmative action in America, and there has been 400 years of oppression. So, but I think we just need, I think people don't believe. And that's the biggest problem. I think people don't believe they can do it. I don't think they believe they can succeed. You know, people feel betrayed by the government, but here's the thing: everywhere in the world, people complain about the government. We complain about Obamacare and Obama's policies and all that stuff. And in the UK, they complain about Cameron, and in China, so everyone always complains about government. I don't know anybody who's happy with their government. And so I think people just need to create their own economy, and that's the key. But it's based on entrepreneurship.
I just want to take you back to one of your famous quotes that I came across. You say that if you're born broke, it's not your fault, but if you die broke, it's 100% your fault. If you relate that to the South African context, over half this population are born broke.
Correct.
How do you actually change that?
But how many of them are some are now successful and they're rich? I mean, Gumede came from nothing. Well, you know, was a caddy and he was broke and he came from a town sort of Nelspruit and now he's successful. We can't blame the circumstances. I mean, how many stories of people? I mean, Trevor Noah, who I'm going to be seeing on Thursday, is a perfect example. I mean, he was broke, living in a township, but he did something to it. You know what? Stop having meetings to have meetings. Stop dialoguing. Stop blaming. Right? Get it done. And that's what, you know, people just point the fingers. You know what? It happens. Stuff happens. You know, but here's the thing. I tell people, don't do your best. Do whatever it takes. Can you tell me truly at this point, if you're watching this show and you're not earning your worth, that you've given me whatever it takes? Or you spend more time pointing the finger? Because when you point the finger at somebody else, you have the three fingers pointing back at you. And I think we're all, I mean, listen, I'm working on 29 minutes of sleep today, right? I have an interview, I got meetings, I got things. I could easily put excuses, but I've got responsibilities to do what it takes. Short-term sacrifices for long-term benefits. The idea is, you know what? Start unknown, finish unforgettable. But give me that effort. Give me that whatever it takes, because people don't invest in companies. People don't invest in stocks. They invest in people. People is what successful people invest. And here's the thing too. I mean, listen, I've never had a drink. I've never done drugs. I've never smoked. I don't condemn anybody does. You can do whatever you want. It's free. You know, freedom to do whatever you want. But don't complain when the circumstances are. So I made a lot of sacrifices in my whole life. People would say, oh, you're stupid. You only live once. Now people everyone wants to live my life. So, you know, I made the sacrifices. And I continue working long hours. But I don't consider it work because I love what I do. I love changing the world. I love inspiring people. I love doing charity. I love getting involved with youth entrepreneurs. I love getting involved with children with cancer. And I'm now getting involved in this country as well. I'm giving back to South Africa. Getting involved with University of Pretoria, the oncology department, and getting involved with other charity, Nelson Mandela Foundation, Salvation Army. So I'm giving back to South Africa because they've given me so much. So, but here's the thing. We all need heroes, models, and coaches. And I've been an inspiration to so many people. I mean, 3 or 4 people here just in the studio saying, wow, you inspired me to take action. You inspired me to do this. Inspired me to start my own business. And you know what? I'm an American, right? And if you don't like Americans, I'm Canadian. 2 passports. But I'd love to get a South African passport, but you guys can't go anywhere. I mean, it's the process, the Schengen visa. I mean, that's a whole process in itself. And I like to hear that stories like that. You know, I'm not perfect. I never pretended to be, but I do care. And our business model, powered by our clients' successes and our family first concept, is what's worked.
Great stuff. JT Fox, thank you very much for joining me.
Pleasure to be on the show.